So guys, this is my review for Tōkyō Ribenjāzu episode 6, and with that guys, let's jump right into this review of this episode. Let's get it. So I did indeed enjoy episode 6 because it was centered around Ken, aka Draken. We get the backstory of him at 15 years old. We find out that his parents were, basically they weren't, like, they were there, but they weren't there. Like his father, if I remember correctly, his father, I want to say his father died, if I remember correctly. I can't remember because I've only watched the episode once. So, like, his father passed away, but his mother was a prostitute. So, like, he said that his home was like a brothel. So all he remembered his home looking a specific way and smelling like lubrication. Like, that just sucks. Like, you're 15 years old, you experience this stuff for however long, and it just it just changes. Like, it does something that changes you within the inner parts of your being. And poor Ken, man, because he went through this again at 15 years old, to the point that he goes and gets this, he officially gets this tattoo on his head. And of course, he's still being a bully himself. And again, I don't like bullies at all. I was bullied as a kid. It still sucks to this day of those memories in the past, for me personally. But there's still that decent side of Ken that I still enjoy, the fact that he still cares for specific people and things like that. That what we find out towards the end of episode 5, with his conversation with Sano at the hospital, when they're paying their respects to one of their members' girlfriends and their parents. They're having that conversation. So it's just that point. But again, I did indeed like just the introduction to a younger Ken. But of course, then we find out of how he meets how he meets Sano, aka Mikey, coming up next. With the introduction to a young Sano, we also get the introduction to a younger, with a young Ken, we obviously get the introduction to a younger Sano, aka Mikey. And with the introduction, of course, Ken is like, he's taken aback because he's like, he thought that he was going to be like this big humongous kid, more likely taller than him. Because he, of course, he was already hearing rumors about Mikey up to this point, but he just didn't know what he looked like. He was expecting him to be taller than him, bigger than him, but that's not the case. He was just a little guy. But with the fact that we get this introduction, and like guys like Sano, he's just like chilling. He's like a cool cat, just cool kid, just out here just chilling, sucking on his sucker. I mean, like, just like, he just seems like just a normal kid. But dude, like, I wasn't expecting what he was gonna do in the next portion of this episode to come. Now, like I said, guys, I even said this in my reaction. I did not see this coming, when it's pertaining to Sano, but it was like he just revved up the engines really quick. He went from 0 to 100 quick, right, and dropped dude in an instant, and had his gang members just like totally shocked. And like, I'm like them. I'm like, yo, like, he really did that. Like, even Ken was shocked. But again, he still heard about how Sano can be. It's just that he just wasn't sure, just because he literally judged the book by the cover automatically, based on the fact that what Sano looked like when he first saw him in front of his face. So he automatically assumed that Sano was just a wimp, or he called him a runt. So it was just like, he automatically assumed that Sano was a nobody, but that's not the case at all. And of course, just like Takemichi, he did the same thing with Ken. He basically said, let's be friends, and this is how they started their own journey together. But with that, then we dive into what's to come next. That, for me, I'm just like, I really don't know what Takemichi is going to do moving forward, coming episode 7, whenever I sit down and watch it next. Now, because they end up running into Asane at his job, where he's having issues and problems with his boss, or even that's the crazy thing, because I feel like, because just a side note, like, I feel like in the workforce, because a specific worker is kind of slackish a little bit, may show up to work a little late, may be calling off a lot, that they're just automatically, like, the upper management is automatically going to be coming at that worker a little bit rough, right? So with him showing up to work on time, he said he showed up on time, but he was still, he like the his boss still felt like he was an issue anyway. It's just one of those things that I sort of hate. Like, I understand, like, your worker is negatively affecting the job, period. But if that worker is showing up on time, there shouldn't be an issue. Just say, hey, thanks for showing up, clock in, let's get to work. Like, that, at least he could have did that, but he just automatically just yelled at him right there off top. But because they run into Asane, Naoto's sort of kind of interrogating him here at the table, at the diner table, talking to him, and we find out that Naoto was basically assuming like Asane is the one that killed Ken 12 years ago in the fight between Toman and Mobius, but he's saying that's not the case at all. We still fought, but we're not the ones who killed him. It was a part of so-and-so's plan, this specific person, this specific guy. Of course, Takemichi is asking, like, well, who is it? Who is he? Is somebody within the Toman group, somebody specific, or somebody within Mobius? Somebody specific is trying to cause a rift between Ken and Sano, but we just don't know who it is. But with that, once they find out that this is happening, that's when Takemichi goes back, and of course then we run into some issues moving forward here in episode 6. I definitely want to make another side note. I do like the fact that Takemichi got a chance to run into and be around Akun again while he's alive 12 years ago in the past, and he actually has the conversation about his dreams and wanted to support him. I definitely did like that moment. But we get to this point where Takemichi again shows up to the warehouse where they were at. Good thing that he heard that information about the warehouse back at the hospital, and so they're basically planning to start this fight with the Mobius group. But we get the younger Asane showing up definitely early, a few days early, a week early, something like that. He shows up, and we get his younger version. I'm sitting back, guys, as I'm watching just this last few scenes going through, because again, Takemichi is trying to figure out a way to stop this from happening. And we also see that Sano is just, he says, I made up my mind. Once I do, this is what we're gonna do. But again, there's still a bit of tension, because Ken steps forward and says, hey, maybe we can listen to Takemichi. Maybe what he's saying about us not going through with this is basically a good idea. But of course, Sano disagrees, and he's like, are you questioning Tom and basically the authority here, and blah blah blah. So there's that tension that could still lead to the disagreement. Like, maybe this is the disagreement. I was saying in my reaction episode 5 that the disagreement was back at the hospital with them bowing to the parents, and Sano didn't like that. But maybe this is where the disagreement is at right here, because it puts the rift there. But again, Takemichi is basically talking to them about somebody having a plan to split them up and have them at odds. But I just don't know who it is yet. I'm not sure. More than likely going to find that information out hopefully in episode 7 or 8. But Asane showing up here early, and him saying, bringing his crew members with him with bats and all, weapons and all. This is bad, guys. This is really, really bad. I'm fearful for everybody involved. I don't know. This could be bringing an early Ken death that we don't want at all to happen and occur. Definitely don't want Takemichi to get hurt either. It's just one of those things, guys, that I'm not sure what's to come here once I sit down to watch episode 7 to come. I'm not sure, and 8 of course. But I did enjoy episode 6, guys. I really, really did. A lot of just key things that were happening to set up moving forward. Because again, I keep saying, like, the timeline, because they're changing stuff in the past, things are becoming different in a whole new timeline. So I'm just taking everything as they come along and seeing those changes happen. And this is definitely one of them, because I feel like in this moment, Asane did not show up here in this moment, so this is brand new too. So again, I enjoyed episode 6. I'm looking forward to episode 7 and 8 when I sit down and watch them to come at some point. But with that, guys, let me know your thoughts. What did y'all think of episode 6 when you first sat down to watch it? Leave some comments in the comment section below. Let's talk about some things. But other than that, I will talk to y'all next time with more Tōkyō Revengers. Peace, guys.